What's going on, people, and welcome back to Kop Ultras Podcast show. I'm your host, Pawan, and I'm back today to give you guys my take and my review of the match that had went on earlier this morning, which was Liverpool's trip into St. James's Park to face Newcastle United. So the match had everything, I think. It had a lot of drama, it had a lot of midfield battles, it had a lot of goals, it had a comeback win for Liverpool. We also had a red card. I think there's so many things that we can talk about. I think there's a lot of layers that you can talk about, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet. So initially, I was supposed to watch the game on TV in my wife's home here, but then unfortunately, Bathi Caves as a whole, they had a power outage and all that, so I had to watch this game by using my phone. And luckily, the internet was still okay, despite the fact that there was no electricity for about 5 to 6 hours. So you can imagine whether if I managed to get some proper sleep or not. So with that, so I managed to watch the game. The game had everything in it. We had our youngest goal scorer scoring a comeback goal and scoring the winning goal, Rio Ngumoha. So that is such a it's a pleasure to watch as well for a young kid of that age to come on and score for us. And I mean, there's, like I said, there's a lot of layers that I wanted to peel back. So, like, I want to go to the beginning. This game had everything, even before the pre-match. I mean, we had a lot of instances where the whole transfer saga involving Isak, Liverpool, and Newcastle, and Isak's reluctance to be a part of the squad for Newcastle at the start of the Premier League season. So a lot of things that were coming into it, and Liverpool also had a point to prove. In this game as well, because the last time we met Newcastle is when we lost the Carabao Cup to them. So, and in that game, Alexander Isak was involved, but in this game he was not involved at all. So ideally, they would have Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon up front, and then I'm not sure who's the other one who played on the other end. So I'm not. Anthony Elanga, yes, their new signing, Anthony Elanga, who played in the front three of Newcastle. And then, like I said, this game had a lot of ups and downs, so many multiple midfield battles that we saw. We saw the likes of Gravenberch, who just got back into the team and who was available to play here. But unfortunately, McAllister wasn't available to play this game because he's also now has become a father as well. So congratulations to McAllister. I think it's a very great news, and it's something that is way more important rather than football, is to be with your family in these kind of precious moments. So congratulations to McAllister. Really, with McAllister not being available, then we would see the likes of Curtis Jones, Gravenberch, and Florian Wirtz in the midfield three, and then and in the back four we saw Dominik Szoboszlai coming in, filling in at the right back position. So I'll also talk about his performance as well, and also about our defensive fragility in this game as well, because we considered 2 goals and the subsequent red card for Anthony Gordon as well. So this game had everything going on, and the stadium, I mean, St. James's Park was bouncing, and the fans were very loud. They were very passionate about the game. They wanted to prove a point that Newcastle is also a big club, to say that even without Alexander Isak, they can still play good football, proper football, a very physical, very physically demanding team who defended very, very well. Kudos to them as well, because the likes of Dan Burn, Bruno Guimaraes, who sort of like, he basically dominated the midfield together with Joe Linton and Sandro Tonali. But unfortunately, Joe Linton and Sandro Tonali later on in the match, in the second half, they would get injured, and then they need to be subbed off due to injury. And we also saw, like I said, we saw Szoboszlai play in the right back position for our team, and he did very, very well. I think, for me personally, I think he would be the man of the match, because the way he would marshal Harvey Barnes in throughout the whole 90 minutes in the game, it was fantastic to watch. I think he made a couple of clearances here and there as well in the first half itself. He utilized his pace really well against Harvey Barnes and made sure that Harvey Barnes could not get a yard quicker than him. So he always matched him for pace, always was able to poke the ball away, clear the balls away, even when he got the crosses in from the other side again, when Elanga puts in a cross and then he managed to get some clearances away. The midfield battle was very very crucial in this game, because Newcastle have this sort of midfield players that are very very physical and aggressive. They are very good at keeping possession and rotating the possessions among themselves, always trying to make sure that they could do some proper ball recoveries. Their recovery pace is very very good. So I think like for like we managed to match them. Curtis Jones was very good as well. He was able to clear up a lot of the balls. He wasn't very reckless, not even in tackling. He was able, not even in passing itself, he wasn't really reckless. He was able to recycle the ball, pass it towards the defense, to the attack. So ultimately being that box to box midfield together with Ryan Gravenberch itself, I think it's refreshing to see as well Ryan Gravenberch coming back into the squad, being a part of the team, and producing a very solid performance and also scoring a goal as well. So it was a very well taken goal. And I think for this is his first goal of the season, and he doesn't really score much goals, Ryan Gravenberch. Towards the end of last season, he did score one or two goals here and there, but then we rarely see Gravenberch actually score goals. But this was a very very good shot, a very grounded, powerful shot, and Fabian Schär, Joelinton didn't have a chance to say to block it, and Nick Pope didn't have a chance to save it as well. So there was no, he didn't have much of a reflex to save it. So it was a fantastic first goal. We managed to get a lead, and then we were basically in and out of the game. I think possession wise against Newcastle, it was more of like a 50-50 because of that whole midfield battle and the physicality that comes with playing against Newcastle. So we saw a lot of the times most of our players didn't have opportunity to keep possession. So they, due to all these sort of battles and duels, aerial duels, ground duels that were going on, so we could see a lot of that happening. And I think there was one of the stats which I saw. I think possession wise, both teams only managed to keep the ball about equally about 40% of the time throughout the whole of the 90 minutes. So it kind of like shows you the intensity of this particular match. And this match had everything in it, like Gravenberch going for the tackle, and him in the early stages of the game itself, he was handed a yellow card by the referee. As the game went on, he was able to compose himself, discipline himself, and he was able to win those sort of midfield battles against Gravenberch and Tonali as well. So it was very very, it was a very sort of like a fun game, but then it was almost nerve wracking as well, because as much as uh, I try to be on the middle ground because I'm doing this podcast and all that, but then there is a side of me which is very passionate itself, that says that you need to win all these kind of duels. You need to go for the ball. Whenever you misplace a pass, when you misplace a long ball, a long pass or something like that, and it doesn't fall, so these kind of things does frustrate me to a certain point. Maybe I don't show it out here. So that is the midfield battle, and then up top we could see Cody Gakpo, being that the usual Cody Gakpo that we always see, handling the ball really well on his feet, beating the defenders, marauding his way forwards, trying to find for that forward pass or that killer ball to release Ekitike so that he can find a shot. His combination play with Ekitike was very very good to watch. It's very good to see. Together with Florian Wirtz as well. I didn't say much about him because Florian Wirtz didn't really impact the game as much, but then there were glimpses of Florian Wirtz where we could see that he would always find pockets of spaces in the Newcastle's defense. So that was good to see. I think it would take a few more games for him to adapt to Arne Slot's system, overall team shape, and how are we going to direct ourselves moving forwards in towards the rest of the season and for all the upcoming games as well. So he didn't really impose himself much in this game, but he was involved in a few corners and some of the free kicks and all that. It didn't really click well for him up top, but passing wise, the way he linked up with Ekitike, like in previous games as well, that was very, very good to see. And then up top, we could see Ekitike also having got himself on the score sheet as well. He scored a goal right early in the second half as well, after Gravenberch scoring in the first half. And then towards the end, yes, I want to talk about also Anthony Gordon's red card as well. I know that a lot of them are saying that probably it might be a yellow card. In my point of view, when I see the tackle and the way he would want to come for the ball, he didn't go for the ball at all. So for me, the way he tackled Van Dijk, it is basically serious foul play. There is a potential that Van Dijk could have gotten an injury out of that. Luckily, he was, not to say unscathed, he did have a scratch on his leg at the back of his calf, at the bottom calf. But in the current state of how Premier League is and how strict they are with these type of tackles and so on, they are very particular. They do not take any tackles which are above the ankle or above the shin. So for me, when I look at the current rules and how players are supposed to tackle their opponent, when I look at the way he goes for the ball when Van Dijk tries to clear the ball away, I mean, for me, ideally, I would say it's a red card. This whole camera, ref cam, and him starting to use the microphone and all that is a very, very new thing. I think the last I saw this was in the MLS, in Major League Soccer in the US. So I think this is the first time they're trying to implement this kind of style in the Premier League. It was very weird because I'm not used to seeing all this, because you would usually see all this in the sports which are in the US, like basketball, American football. Those are the type of sports where they would use the mic and they would announce it to the whole crowd in the stadium that the foul has been committed and their VAR check has been done. Cut for Anthony Gordon and he got sent off, and then is basically advantage Liverpool. So once it was advantage Liverpool, and then second half came, Ekitike scored. It was a good strike as well. Cody Gakpo tried to get a shot off, and then it got blocked by the defenders, and then he managed to find Ekitike. Ekitike slots it in on the bottom left corner. So 3 games, 3 goals, and 1 assist. I think it's a good start for Ekitike as well. Let's see. I mean, it's a good momentum. I think he has all the makings to be a really good striker, and I think every time he scores a goal, he's sort of like asking the question, why would we need Alexander Isak when you have Hugo Ekitike? I think it's a good challenge for him. It's a good challenge for him. Definitely looking forward to more goals from Ekitike and more involvement in the game. And then when Ekitike scored and all that, as the game went on, a lot of midfield battles, a lot of 50-50 possession. Both teams weren't able to cancel off each other. So, at times Liverpool could find the open chance and then they would not finish it. Like Curtis Jones had a chance and Mo Salah was frustrated about it. He couldn't finish it. There was a lot of chances here and there, and also Alisson was able to save a lot of the chances that were coming in. And the goal could have been avoided if Kirkes didn't show his back to Guimaraes. I think he failed to see what Guimaraes was actually doing at that point in time in trying to hit the ball. So there is a concern there as well. But overall, Kirkes' performance was good. He didn't really bomb up too much, but then at sometimes some of his tackles and his timing of the tackles wasn't really right. It didn't really click, but then overall it was still okay. Van Dijk and Konate, on the other hand, they are still okay. They are the best centre back partnership that we have. But then at the end of the day, the fragility was very, very visible. A lot of the long balls that Newcastle had, they punted up a lot of long balls up forwards against us in the defense and our defensive areas. So Konate wasn't able to control the ball at some of the moments. He would fumble it and all that, and then we would see all these things happening. It was very frustrating to a certain point. I don't know whether if Konate is sort of like his head is in another place, but then it's already the second game of the season. He already played against Crystal Palace, so I mean there is a consistent fragility in terms of the way he's defending. So I think Arne Slot will take note of that and definitely address it. Momentum shifted. We had the 2-goal advantage, but then The moment Guimaraes scored, I think the whole atmosphere it just grew louder and louder and louder, and then the whole momentum shifted, and then we could see, a lot of attacks being done by Newcastle. They would constantly get corners, constantly get long throws, throw-ins, and constantly get free kicks and all that. So, despite having a red card, I think Newcastle did a very very good job in trying to come back into this game against us. And then ideally, I think they brought in a young striker who was William Osula. So he was the one who scored the equalizing goal. Same thing, they put in a long ball in. Our defenders weren't able to defend it properly, and then Osula would score. And then my even my friend was saying, Konate, like what the hell. He was part of like the reason, like I said earlier, that we don't know what is Konate thinking at that moment in time. He could have defended him, he could have blocked him away. He could have just asserted more physicality into Osula, but it was so easy for him to clear, and there's only so much Allison could do. I mean, he is part of the reason that we have a very very good defense, but there's only so much that Allison could do. But then in this game, the fragility from Konate was so obvious, was sort of borderline bad. It was sort of like borderline bad. So um, and then they would equalize, and then we would make a lot of substitutions here and there, and then they would also make some substitutions. We didn't take off Salah. uh, I mean, I don't want to point out Mo Salah's performance, but then he didn't really do much in this game at all whatsoever. I think he only made a few key passes here and there. He tried to create chances, one or two chances, but the most important chance he would create was towards the end of the game. Salah would get into position to cross the ball when Curtis Jones passes him, and then when he crosses the ball in, Szoboszlai does the most genius thing ever. He would create that dummy. So I think at the back of his head, I think he already knew Ngumoha is open. He's free, away from Livramento, and he would create that dummy and he would pull Livramento away from him, and ideally giving Ngumoha loads of space to score. But Ngumoha was so cool, was so calm. He managed to get the ball in. He shot the ball. It was a perfectly curled shot away from Nick Pope, and what a score! What a goal it was! And it is a good statement from Ngumoha as well, because a few days back also we also heard from the from the Liverpool board that they would ideally decide not to sign any other experienced wingers, because ideally it would block the pathway of Rio and Moha. So um, I think it's a good decision by Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes, so that they could allow this development of Rio and Ngumoha. I think Chelsea fans would be absolutely pissed right now looking at Rio scoring for us, especially scoring the winning goal. I mean, because we actually poached him from Chelsea's academy, so, and we paid absolutely nothing. We paid absolutely zero. We didn't pay a penny. We didn't pay a penny for Rio. So it's a fantastic moment for Rio. Salah, like I said, Salah was basically just alienated in this match. He wasn't really involved at all, and in this particular moment, he was involved, and he managed to find that cross and try to find Rio, and we scored the winning goal, and now we are going home to back to Anfield to face Arsenal with 3 points in the bag. To see, I think it is a good match for the Premier League as well. I think it's one of the most exciting games in the Premier League this season so far. Still a long way to go, but in this season so far, this game had everything, and it had all the makings of to being the match of the season. So it is a good result for us, but then, like I said, there are defensive fragilities which definitely needs a lot of attention. It was such a intense matchup, even very intense for me as well. Not having an electricity in the house for the whole night, or struggling to sleep while also trying to be also available to watch the game as well. I think everything compounded. So luckily, we are able to get the 3 points, and it's a good result for us. But then definitely this would kickstart our momentum to sort of like defend the Premier League title from now onwards, and then up onwards and upwards. And then after this is going to be against Arsenal, which is an even bigger test. because they are sort of like our title challengers as well. So it's you know, let's see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. So thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel as well. Also click on the bell icon so that you guys can get the updates on my videos as well. I'll be posting clips of this on TikTok as well, so you can head on over there and follow me there as well. Thank you so much for your time. I will see you guys soon, and I'll give you guys a preview of the Arsenal match. And like I always say, guys, you'll never walk alone. Take care, guys.